All right, welcome to another deep dive. And today we are going to be tackling someone who I think is pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
And someone that you, our listeners, helped us to decide that we wanted to dive into.
Yeah,
Ibn Rushd,
absolutely.
or Averroes, as he's known in the West.
Hmm.
And what's so interesting about Ibn Rushd, just right off the bat, is that he was this figure who excelled in all these different areas of study, like philosophy, medicine, law.
Right.
Which is something that you don't really see all that much today.
Yeah, and not just influential, but foundational, really.
Yeah.
This 12th century Andalusian figure really provided some crucial interpretations of classical thought that shaped
Yeah.
post-classical European intellectual history, and he remains a major figure within Muslim philosophical traditions as well.
Yeah, and so today we want to dive into him. We want to talk about some of his core convictions, his beliefs,
Yeah,
and talk about what made him so important.
absolutely.
So to do that, maybe we should start with just like a little bit of context, like
Yeah.
where did he come from and like
Yeah.
the world that he lived in.
Sounds good.
So we know that Ibn Rushd was born in Cordova
Yeah.
in 1126,
Mm-hmm.
and his family was actually pretty important in Andalusian society, right?
That's right, yeah. They held significant judicial power, and they were known for their scholarship
Well,
in the religious sciences.
yeah, it's like he was born into this world
Yeah.
that had both like practical authority and deep intellectual tradition.
Yeah. And his grandfather, also named Ibn Rushd, was
Wow.
a really well-regarded judge and jurist
Oh, wow.
in the Maliki school,
Okay.
one of the major schools of Sunni Islamic jurisprudence.
Wow. Okay.
And so to distinguish them,
Yeah.
the philosopher is often referred to as the grandson
Okay.
or Eliphaden,
Okay.
which, really highlights
Oh, yeah.
his family's intellectual weight across generations.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because unlike some of the other thinkers that we've covered,
Yeah.
like Ibn Sina or Al-Ghazali,
Right.
Ibn Rushd didn't write an autobiography.
Yeah.
So we kind of have to piece together his story through these
Right.
biographical accounts by other people.
We do. And what's interesting is that the details that we do have
Yeah.
consistently paint a picture of him as someone with integrity,
Mm-hmm.
deeply committed to science,
Yeah.
known for his impartiality as a judge.
Yeah.
And alongside all of this was his deep engagement with philosophy
Wow.
and what some would consider kind of audacious intellectual stances.
Wow. So he was born into this world. And now we also have to remember that he's living during this huge political shift,
Yeah.
right? This is the rise of the Almohad dynasty.
Yeah.
So just to give people a little context, the Almohads were this powerful Berber dynasty.
Mhm.
They had a very specific religious ideology.
Right.
And his family had been tied to the previous rulers, the Almoravids. So Ibn Rushd, he really had to figure out how to navigate
Yeah.
this new political world,
Mhm.
and he had to demonstrate his allegiance to this new dynasty.
Yeah. How did he do that?
Yeah, so
Well-
he managed to integrate himself into these ruling circles,
That's right.
both in Marrakesh and in Andalusia.
Mhm.
And he started participating in philosophical and theological discussions with them.
Yes, and one particularly fascinating meeting he had was with
Yeah.
the Almohad ruler Abu Yaqub Yusuf.
Okay, yeah.
Um,
So yeah, this seems to be a really important
yeah,
turning point in his life
absolutely.
because it was actually this ruler who commissioned Ibn Rushd
Yeah,
to write commentaries on Aristotle's works,
that's right.
which is a huge deal because it meant that he had this like royal support
Yes, it was
for disseminating these ideas.
absolutely.
And it's also just interesting to note that this, religious dynasty was supporting philosophy.
Yeah, it was a real embrace of philosophy.
Yeah, which is kind of surprising in a way.
Yeah,
But it didn't stop there.
it didn't.
So he actually became even closer to this ruling class
He did.
when he became the caliph's chief physician.
Yeah, and that's in Marrakesh?
Yeah, Marrakesh, yeah. And that's so interesting, right? Because it's like a completely different field
A totally different.
than philosophy.
Yeah.
And it just speaks to like how much he knew
Yeah,
and how capable he was.
it really does.
But we also know that his relationship with the Almohad Creed wasn't static.
Right.
So, he was constantly sort of reevaluating his own relationship to it.
It evolved.
It evolved.
Yeah.
And, later revisions of his work, Al-Kash and Manahi al-Adiyah,
Mhm.
really suggest this kind of
Yeah.
growing distance from the original doctrines of Ibn Tumart.
Yeah, and it really kind of underscores the idea that he was this thinker who wasn't
Yeah.
afraid to let his reasoning lead him, even if that meant questioning established norms.
Yeah, and this critical perspective that he had.
Right.
It's actually really interesting because it seems like it might have played a role
Yeah.
in his eventual downfall.
Yeah.
So towards the end of his career, he was actually disgraced and exiled
Yeah.
to Lucena,
Yeah, near Cordova.
near Cordova,
Yeah, right.
for reasons that are a little bit unclear.
Yeah.
But it seems like it probably had something to do with,
Yeah.
his willingness to critique the Almohads in his commentary on Plato's Republic.
Yeah, it could have also had something to do with some of the critiques that he had for
Right.
prominent members of the Almohad movement.
Exactly. Yeah. And then he ended up dying confinement in Marrakesh in 1198.
It's a bit of a sad end, but a stark reminder that even the most brilliant minds are subject to the political and social forces of their times.
Absolutely. And I think what it really kind of highlights is just how deeply intertwined these intellectual pursuits were with the political and religious context of that era.
It does.
So, okay, he's living in this world. He has this very interesting life story. He's working with all these different rulers, things like that. But let's kind of dive into some of those core convictions now.
Sounds good.
So, like, what did he actually believe? What were some of his big ideas?
So one of the things that really stands out from our sources is his deep belief in the power of philosophy to attain demonstrative certainty in so many areas of inquiry.
So he's not just interested in philosophy. He really sees it as this
Absolutely.
for attaining knowledge.
It's a powerful method for him.
Yeah.
Capable of yielding genuine and reliable knowledge about the world.
Yeah. And this actually leads him to have immense respect for Aristotle.
He did, yeah.
And he even said, he has this famous quote
Right.
where he says that no one who has come after him has been able to add a word worthy of attention to what he said.
That's a huge statement of intellectual deference.
It really is. It's basically saying, like, Aristotle is the ultimate authority.
Definitive philosopher for Ibn Rushd.
Yeah. And so this is really what drives him to interpret and explain and defend all of Aristotle's work.
He spends a lot of his time doing just that.
Yeah. But I think one of the things that's so interesting about Ibn Rushd and why he's so influential is that he actually saw philosophy playing the central role within religious inquiry.
Right.
So for him, it wasn't...
It's not an opposing force.
Yeah, it's not philosophy versus religion. It's more like...
Right, they're harmonious paths to truth for him.
Yeah, and so he's constantly trying to reconcile these two domains. And this is really like a defining feature.
It is, the hallmark
of his intellectual project.
Yeah, and, he's not just using logic.
Right.
He's actually really good
at using all these different methods.
That's right.
Of reasoning and persuasion. Especially in fields like religion and medicine and law.
Exactly. So he goes beyond just the purely Aristotelian proofs.
Yeah, so he's like a really adaptable thinker.
Yeah.
He's got all these different tools in his toolkit.
He's got a full kit.
Yeah, and he uses them.
Yeah. He's
for all these different things.
Yeah, and that kind of leads us to consider, the scope of his intellectual output.
Yeah, because he wrote about so much.
He did.
So he wrote about medicine, logic, philosophy.
Yeah.
He wrote about metaphysics, natural philosophy, psychology, ethics, politics, Islamic religious sciences, jurisprudence, foundations of law and religion, and even the Arabic language.
That's amazing.
I mean, that's
remarkable.
Incredible.
And what's really cool is that most of his work is still available in the original Arabic.
Yes.
Which really is a testament to its importance.
Yeah. And then for the works that have been lost, we still have these medieval Hebrew or Latin translations.
Yeah.
So we can still
get a sense.
Piece it all together.
Of his ideas.
Yeah. And a lot of his work actually takes the form of commentaries.
Yes, it does.
So he wrote a lot about Aristotle. He covers almost all of Aristotle's writings.
Yeah.
But he also wrote about other influential figures like Galen.
Yes, in
medicine, and Plato and Ibn Sina and Ibn Bajjah.
Ibn Bajjah.
And traditionally, his commentaries have been categorized into these three types.
Yeah.
The epitome or short commentary, the paraphrase or middle commentary, and then the literal or long commentary.
I think of it as different levels of engagement with the text, right?
Yeah.
So you have your quick overview, then you have your thorough understanding, and then you have the in-depth scholarly examination.
It's almost like Spark Notes Cliff Notes.
Exact.
And then like the full...
And then the full academic.
Yeah.
view.
But recent scholarship has shown that that might be too simplistic.
That's right.
Like it doesn't really capture...
Doesn't capture the nuances of his engagement.
Yeah, and he also didn't just write commentaries.
Right.
He also wrote these independent treatises.
Yes.
Addressing specific...
Just a specific philosophical and religious questions.
Yeah, and so some of the ones that are really worth mentioning here are the Decisive Treatise, which makes this really strong argument for philosophy within Islam.
Right.
The Incoherence of the Incoherence.
Yes.
Which is this detailed refutation.
A refutation.
Of al-Ghazali's critique of philosophy.
Yeah, al-Ghazali.
And then the exposition of the methods of proof.
Yes.
Concerning religious doctrines.
That's a great one.
Which is basically him proposing a philosophical alternative to Asherite theology.
Exactly.
And this is really interesting because it seems like there's this growing consensus among scholars that we shouldn't really see his philosophical commentaries and his theological works as separate.
Right.
Like they really form this unified whole.
It's a unified intellectual project.
Yeah, and that's fascinating, right? Because it suggests that for him, the pursuit of philosophical and religious understanding were like...
Intertwined.
Yeah. And so to kind of dig into that a little bit deeper, maybe we can look at his understanding of logic and methodology.
Yeah.
So for Ibn Rushd, logic is really the study of these principles and rules that guide the intellect in forming concepts and making judgments.
Yeah, and he picks up this idea from Aristotle that an educated person should seek the appropriate level of precision in any given inquiry. And Ibn Rushd says that logic is the tool to do just that, to be able to approach these different subjects with the right degree of rigor and analysis.
And he actually wrote extensively about all the works in Aristotle's logical organon.
He did, yeah.
And he even wrote a compendium of logic early in his career.
Yeah, and it's interesting because he follows this common practice in the Arabic intellectual tradition of including rhetoric and poetics as part of this comprehensive logical framework.
So it's like logic, but it also includes rhetoric and poetics.
Exactly. Yeah.
And he categorized logical arguments.
Yes, he did.
Into 5 types.
Right.
Demonstrative arguments, dialectical arguments, rhetorical arguments, poetical arguments, and fallacious arguments.
Right.
And these were distinguished based on their premises.
Yeah, that's an important point.
Okay.
It's not just the form of the argument, but also what the argument is based on.
Okay, so what's the difference then between like a demonstrative argument?
So a demonstrative argument is based on necessary premises.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a mathematical proof. Yeah. It's aiming for irrefutable certainty.
Okay, and that was like the highest...
That was the gold standard for Ibn Rushd.
Okay.
He considered it the only way to get to certainty in philosophy.
And then a dialectical argument.
Dialectical argument is more like a reasoned debate.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's based on premises that are generally accepted, but they're not necessarily absolutely certain. Yeah. It's more about kind of like a back and forth where you're trying to arrive at some kind of truth.
And he didn't just dismiss those other forms of argument, though, right?
He didn't. He thought they were valuable.
Okay.
But in different ways.
Okay.
So, for example, he saw dialectic as a way to kind of work towards demonstrative knowledge, right? Like you start with a dialectical argument, and then you work your way up to something more certain.
And rhetoric.
Rhetoric, he thought, was really good for reinforcing demonstrative evidence for a broader audience. Yeah. So once you've got that certainty, rhetoric is what you use to communicate it to people.
And he spent a lot of time thinking about this theory of demonstration.
Yeah.
And he has these commentaries on Aristotle's posterior analytics.
Yeah, and he actually called them the Book of Demonstration.
Okay, yeah.
Which I think really kind of highlights how important this idea was to him.
And it's also where he really digs into the logical theories of some of his predecessors, like Al-Farabi and Ibn Sina.
Yeah, and it's here that he really develops his own distinctive contribution to the field.
Yeah, and one of the things that's really interesting here is this idea of different types of demonstration.
Yeah.
Right? So he distinguishes between absolute demonstration, demonstration of existence, and demonstration of the cause.
And he says that absolute demonstration is the ideal, but it's not always achievable. especially in fields like natural science or metaphysics.
Yeah.
So, for example, in astronomy, you might be able to observe the movements of the planets.
Okay.
And that would demonstrate their existence.
Okay.
But you might not be able to say for certain what's causing them to move in that way.
Yeah, so sometimes you can prove that something exists, but you can't necessarily explain it fully.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And even though he thought that dialectic was useful as a kind of intellectual training, he wasn't really all that interested in it for everyday conversation.
Not so much.
Yeah, he actually preferred rhetoric and poetics.
Yeah, he thought those were more appropriate for that.
And he even thought that some of these dialectical syllogisms that were being used by some theologians could actually be confusing for the general public.
Yeah, potentially even disadvantageous.
Yeah, when you're communicating with people who aren't trained in philosophy.
And he actually drew on Alfarabi's work to emphasize that dialectic is a structured method.
It's not just casual conversation.
Right. It's not just like shooting the breeze.
Yeah, it has rules.
Yeah, it has rules.
And techniques.
Okay.
Yeah.
And even when it came to poetics, which he did see as a form of syllogistic reasoning, he thought it was weaker.
Yeah, less reliable than true syllogism
Yeah.
when it came to achieving knowledge.
Okay. And then in jurisprudence, he argued that these legal inferences, they're not producing the same kind of certainty.
Yeah, they're more like opinions, not certainties.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like he's really acknowledging that different fields have
absolutely different characteristics, different methodologies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now I think it's time to kind of zoom out a little bit and
we'll talk about his impact and reception.
Sure.
Because that's where I think things get really
this is where it gets fun.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So in Europe, Ibn Rushd was huge.
Huge.
He was like a rock star.
He was like the philosopher of the age.
And he was known simply as the commentator.
Yeah, and his influence on Christian Europe was profound.
Yeah, he was super influential.
Yeah, he really shaped the intellectual landscape of the time.
Yeah, from the 13th century.
That's right.
All the way through the Renaissance.
It's remarkable how long his influence lasted in Europe.
Yeah. And translations of his work actually ignited
they did.
These intense intellectual debates.
Absolutely.
And we even get this new philosophical movement called Averroism.
Yeah.
And there are all these controversies surrounding the unity of the intellect, the eternity of the world, determinism.
Big questions, yeah.
And even figures like Thomas Aquinas, who actually disagreed with Ibn Rushd.
Yeah, on some key points.
Yeah. Still relied
on
his interpretations of Aristotle.
They couldn't ignore him.
Yeah.
He was too important.
Yeah, and his works were part of university curricula for centuries.
Yeah, for centuries.
And it's not just in Christian Europe.
No.
He was also super influential in Jewish thought.
Yeah, he gained prominence quickly in Jewish circles.
Yeah. And he was actually even more important than Aristotle.
Yeah, he even surpassed Aristotle in importance.
And this is partly due to Maimonides, who praised Ibn Rushd's commentaries.
That's right.
And so this really sparks this, like,
it does.
4 centuries of engagement with Ibn Rushd.
Yeah, a real fascination with his work.
Yeah. And we see his writings being translated into Hebrew.
Extensively.
Yeah. And we even get these Jewish scholars writing super commentaries.
Super commentaries.
His work is commentary on commentary. Yeah, it's commentary on commentary, exactly.
It's pretty meta.
And then this is something that we don't always hear.
Yeah.
But it's actually really important.
It is.
Ibn Rushd also had a significant influence within Arabic and Islamic thought.
That's right.
So even though some people have said
that
he was mostly a figure of importance for the West.
Yeah, that's common misconception.
That's not actually true.
It's not true at all.
Yeah, and we see his ideas being used by theologians and mathematicians.
And Sufis.
Yeah.
Mystics.
Yeah. And in places like Andalusia and Morocco after his death. And we even see his work spreading eastward to Egypt and the Levant.
Yeah. And even eventually...
Even Persia. Wow.
Yeah.
So it really shows that he had this...
much broader...
and more enduring influence.
And more enduring impact.
Yeah.
Than some people give him credit for.
Yeah. So to kind of sum up Ibn Rushd's lasting legacy.
Yeah.
We can really see him as this pivotal figure.
Absolutely.
Who helped to transmit and interpret and build upon Aristotelian thought.
Yeah.
And he made these really significant efforts to try to harmonize
Yes, he did.
philosophy and religion.
And he did it in a way that resonated across different intellectual traditions.
Yeah, and I think it's so interesting to think about how his work traveled across all these different cultures and all these different religions.
Absolutely.
But now I think it's time to connect it all back to you, our listener.
Sounds good.
So how is this relevant today? Why should we care about Ibn Rushd in the 21st century?
Well, I think one thing that really stands out to me is his deep commitment to reason.
Yeah.
And his willingness to really grapple with complex questions across a really wide range of fields.
Yeah, and that's something that's so important today, right? Because we're constantly being bombarded
Yes, we are.
with information, and we have to figure out how to
sort through it all.
Sort through it and how to make sense of it.
And Ibn Rushd gives us a model for how to do that, right? He shows us how to use reason to evaluate different claims, how to be critical, but also how to be open-minded.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's really valuable.
Absolutely. And I think one thing that's so interesting is that he didn't just focus on one thing.
No.
Right? Like, he was interested in all these different areas of knowledge.
He had this holistic approach.
Yeah. And that really challenges us today because we tend to specialize so much.
You do,
Like, we're all kind of in our own little silos.
Yeah.
And we don't always think about how these different areas of knowledge are connected.
Yeah.
And so I think Ibn Rushd can really teach us something about that.
I think so, too.
Yeah, about the importance of being
Science.
well-rounded.
The pursuit of wisdom.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good place to leave it for today.
I agree.
So we've just scratched the surface of Ibn Rushd's thought, but hopefully we've given you some things to think about.
Chew on,
Chew on.
Yeah.
And we encourage you to keep exploring his work and his ideas and to think about how they might be relevant to your own life today.
That's what this is all about.
Yeah. So until next time, keep diving.
Keep diving.